It's exciting to cut the ribbon on Station 9, serving the Rosemont neighborhood. And along with being the home of some of the very best firefighters Orlando has to offer and having some of the best equipment, Station 9 was also built with firefighters' health and safety first and foremost. So the station was designed to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace and includes private individual crew bunk rooms, showers and restrooms, and a secure room for special uses such as nursing.
Trailing Thoughts from Shingle Creek Trail. I've never seen more animals on a bike ride. Is that another water bird? They're like mini seaplanes. Imagine having the power of flight, only to spend so much of your day underwater. That's got to be really confusing and terrifying to the fish.
I remember very well, like 20 months, almost 2 years ago, Justin, our general manager, was meeting with the PKZ and the fantastic program of Black Bee Honey. We had a tasting in the room over there. We loved the product, we loved the story, and we decided that right away we want to be partner with them. We want to be working with them and take the product to the next level and make it known to the public.
I've been waiting for this for weeks. I gotta tell you, I am so ready to do this. I even have the bed ready. What? So when you get home, we can get really dirty.
Gotta go. Hey! Here you go. With all this compost, we're gonna have the best plants in the neighborhood.
Good afternoon and welcome to the July 18th, 2022 meeting of the Orlando City Council. I'd like to welcome you here today. We're going to begin with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance led today by Commissioner Robert Stewart. Commissioner.
Thank you. Will you bow your heads with me, please? Loving Father, thank you for every seat that has been filled in these chambers today. For each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room, we thank you. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today. We have an idea, a vision, a hint, and daily instructions. We have talents and abilities and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Father, your righteousness transcends all of our efforts and understanding. Forgive us our pride, the pride that puffs us up and the pride that threatens to create barriers between us. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Bless this meeting today, all those present as well as those lives, those who we encounter afterward. In your holy and gracious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of a quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray?
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz? Here. Commissioner Stewart?
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan? Here. Commissioner Hill?
Here.
Commissioner Burns?
Here.
Mayor Dyer?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and we'll note that Commissioner Ortiz is joining us virtually today. Thank you for being able to join us, Commissioner. First item of business is consideration of minutes from the agenda review and City Council meetings of June 20th, 2022. Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Okay, we're going to move into awards presentations and recognitions, and we are grateful for our partnership with the Florida League of Cities, which is celebrating their 100th anniversary, and we're also excited to receive one of the 2022 Florida Municipal Achievement Awards in Environmental Stewardship. And I would like to ask Dr. Brittany Sellers with our Greenworks team to tell us a little bit more about the award and to also introduce our friends from the Florida League of Cities. Brittany.
Great. Thank you so much, Mayor, and good afternoon. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm so happy to come before you today to talk about a really unique program that we have here in the city of Orlando designed to serve the youth of our community. Last fall, the Office of Sustainability and Resilience had the opportunity to partner with Families, Parks, and Recreation to launch and pilot a sustainability adventure program through a grant with the Florida Department of Agriculture. With the support of Commissioners Hill and Burns, this program provided Orlando youth participating in the Paramore Kids Zone and Holden Heights Kids Zone with enriching outdoor experiences while educating them on sustainability topics and explorer-related career paths across the state of Florida. So what does taking a group of middle school age kids into the woods to learn about sustainability look like? Well, there were trips to Bill Frederick Park and learning about managing natural lands while practicing fishing with FWC. There were archery lessons and sustainable farm tours in Leesburg. There was a stop by the Florida Aquarium for hands-on experience with ocean conservation and visiting the Siemens Wind Energy Training Center to learn how clean energy helps to preserve the environment. And last weekend, a snorkeling trip to Alexander Springs. But mostly, there were a lot of campfires, s'mores, and laughter. But rather than discussing this from only our perspective, I think we should hear from one of the adventurers themselves, and I'd like to invite up Michael Hawkins, a 9th grader from Jones High School, to join me here at the podium and share more about your experience. Michael?
Welcome, Michael.
Welcome. Thanks, Michael. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Michael Hawkins, and I go to the rec center or Grand Avenue.
And what was most impactful about this program? What did it really mean to you?
It really meant for me that we really need to start caring about our environment before it's too late and it's all gone. Because the camping trips, I enjoyed my trip to Alexander Springs, and the fact that people were violating the area where they weren't supposed to go to, and it messes up the environment. So I really think we should conserve it and make sure it doesn't go away so we can enjoy stuff like that.
Wonderful, thank you. Did you have a favorite part you want to share?
My favorite part is probably the camping trips, because I learn a lot, like how to efficiently set up a tent, also to roll up sleeping bag, what I didn't do last time, but
And is there anything you're most looking forward to in the program going forward?
well, it's already, what I really want to happen is like it being more inclusive of kids, but that's already kind of happening already. And well, yeah, being inclusive, like letting the kids have input on what they want to do and what they want to happen. Like field trips. We recently had a field trip to SeaWorld, and that was probably my favorite experience of the program. Probably because all the lines were short, but yeah.
Fair enough. We'll take all the feedback we can get. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining me here. And thanks for being part of the program.
Well, thank you for letting me be a part of the program.
We appreciate it. Well, it's experiences like these, even short lines at SeaWorld, which we'll take, that really help to make this cross-department collaboration worthwhile, and all the work going on behind the scenes as well. And in fact, this is a positive first-year experience, so much so that we've secured funding for a second year of the program. So maybe just a moment for applause for the hardworking team who made this possible as well. And of course, what brings us here today, it's with this program's success that we are so thankful for the recognition we've been given by Florida League of Cities and receiving this year's Municipal Award for Environmental Stewardship. And of course, none of this would be possible without the support from not only the Florida Department of Agriculture, but Families, Parks, and Recreation, Districts 5 and 6. And on behalf of the Office of Sustainability and Resilience, we'd like to share our deepest gratitude to be a part of something that has truly been an adventure. Now, at this time, I'd like to invite up Aaron Russell, who's joining us from Florida League of Cities, to please come to the podium, introduce each of our essential partners by name, and share more of this important award before we gather for a group photo. Aaron?
Thank you. So we'll set this here. It's heavy and it's glass, and I don't want to break it, but I hope you can see that. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, staff, and citizens. My name is Aaron Russell, and I am from the Florida League of Cities, located in both Tallahassee and Orlando, Florida. And for those in the audience who may be unfamiliar with the Florida League of Cities, we have served as the united voice for Florida's 411 cities, towns, and villages since 1922. As you mentioned, we're celebrating 100 years this year, which we're very excited about. But we serve our cities through advocacy, through training, through financial and insurance services, and always standing up for the governments closest to the people, governments like the city of Orlando. And if I may take a moment to say thank you to the city for being an active and dedicated member of the League. And I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge Commissioner Stewart, who is a member of our board of directors, and Commissioner Ortiz, who is also a member of our board of directors and our immediate past president. So thank you for your service to the Florida League of Cities. The Florida League of Cities has been recognizing outstanding cities, towns, and villages since 2009 through our Florida Municipal Achievement Award program, which has 3 prestigious awards: City Spirit, Florida Citizenship, and the award I am here to present you today, Environmental Stewardship. The Environmental Stewardship Award focuses on city programs that promote conservation, improve and protect environmental conditions, or provide environmental education and outreach programs within your city, which is exactly what the Orlando Kids Zone Sustainability Adventure Program did. This program, which brought together 2 city departments, the Families, Parks, and Recreation Department and the Office of Sustainability and Resiliency, had a goal to bring Orlando youth to enriching outdoor activities while providing education on sustainability initiatives and careers within Florida. And Brittany, you already gave a great overview of the program, so I don't want to repeat anything she said. And thank you for being here today and talking about your experience. You did that better than I could have just reviewing the program, but this program engaged 36 youth with monthly themed excursions. And after seeing the agenda for this program, I want to participate in this program next year because it had a lot of very cool activities. But I did want to comment, one of the judges of the program wrote, one of the judges that helped us with this awards program wrote, she gave the highest ranking to this program because it focused on students and it focused on future careers in the environmental field, which will have a lasting impact on your community as a whole. So to conclude my comments, I do want to give a special shout out to the individuals who were involved in this program. Daniel Friedline, the program manager, Chris Castro, Lisa Early, Brenda March, Dwight Evans, Gino Rankin, Reginald Burrows, Francis Wellenbusher, Brittany Sellers, Brittany Corzoza, and Jacob Warfel. Congratulations on a great program. This program is a testament to city leadership, your excellent city staff, and perhaps most importantly, the willingness of your residents to participate in this program. The Florida Municipal Achievement Award is the highest award that we grant to Florida cities, so your nomination was excellent and your efforts in engaging your citizens was extraordinary. So in addition to the trophy I am here to present the city with today, you'll be featured on the League's social media and in our statewide Quality Cities magazine. So on behalf of the Florida League of Cities, I am honored to present you with the 2022 Florida Municipal Achievement Award in the Environmental Stewardship category. Congratulations.
And Aaron, before we call everyone up, I'm not sure if this is a fair trade, but given the Florida July heat we're in, we do have a hat for you that for the Sustainability Adventure Program. You'll be ready to go with the other campers when you start next weekend.
Exactly. Okay, great.
Wonderful. So if we could please have Lisa, Brenda, Daniel, Dwight, Gino, the whole crew, come on up, please. And Daniel, we're going to give you the glass to hold.
Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Burns,
Good job.
Make room for me over here.
Okay, everybody this way.
Okay, that brings us to the mayor's update. Since we met last, Commissioner Sheehan has had a birthday. Oh, yes, as it turns out. I guess it's been 3 weeks since we met, so we would like to wish you a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Commissioner Sheehan. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, Tony.
Yeah, you need Commissioner Ortiz to sing, you know that.
Yeah, that's true. On the other end of the scale, I want to, as part of my update, send my condolences on behalf of our entire community to the family and friends of Reverend Canon Nelson Pender, who passed away recently. Father Pender was a legend, and I don't use that term lightly in describing someone of this magnitude. He was a leader in Orlando's civil rights movement and with Episcopal churches throughout the region. Over the years, he never stopped with his advocacy, and he was, even when we thought he retired 2 or 3 times, he always came back and was active in our community. He was a friend and a mentor and somebody that you could always talk to. He'll absolutely be missed, and I believe this legacy will follow through his collective work that he has done in this city to make it a more equitable city for all. Lastly, in my general update, I'd like to take a brief moment to recognize, even though he is not here, Robert Bowden, before he retires, as our longstanding executive director at Lou Gardens. He'll retire next week. Robert would prefer to ease into retirement with no fanfare whatsoever, but even without him here, I'm not going to let him off that easily. So I want to share my gratitude to Robert for the 29 years that he has so lovingly nurtured Lou Gardens, and it has resulted in numerous new garden collections, multiple must-see events, a rise in memberships, annual attendance that continues to blossom, and certainly his passion for horticulture is undeniable, only equaled by his love of teaching and sharing, teaching people how to cook and use vegetables right from the garden. I wish him a happy and leafy green trail as he embarks on his new journey. I do have a couple of items of note on the agenda. We have several appointments. So on today's agenda, we will be approving the appointments of Charlie Salazar as Chief of the Orlando Fire Department and Eric Smith as Chief of the Orlando Police Department. They are both well equipped to take charge of the individual departments. We'll host change of command ceremonies for OFD on July 26th and for OPD on August the 24th. And also on today's agenda is the appointment of Corey Knight as Director of our Public Works Department. For nearly 2 decades, he's worked in the area Public Works, including his latest position here in the City of Orlando as Capital Improvements Division Manager. Corey is well qualified to lead the department, so I'm excited to have them officially on board. I do have 2 items that I would like to mention as well. I want to highlight an item that there will be a new OPD substation on I Drive that'll help ensure the safety of residents and businesses and visitors. I want to thank Orlando Crossings Mile owner Alejandro Pizzini, who I believe is here today. Alejandro? Right there in front of me. Thank you so much for making this opportunity available to us. Thanks. And I know Commissioner Burns is equally excited about that. I probably stole a little bit of thunder. And then lastly, on today's agenda is a lease agreement with the Orange County Library System for our future Southeast Government Center location, as well as a location at the future sports complex in conjunction with Orange County. So that will give Lake Nona a branch, and that will give Horizons West a branch. And we are thrilled to partner with the library system and our partners at Orange County government. I want to thank our real estate team, Lori, for your efforts, and our partners at the Orange County Library System who are here today. Library Board President Crockett Bohannon. Where are you guys? Okay. Library Interim Director Steve Powell. Library CFO Chris Shoemaker, and Bethany Stone, who will be the Chief Branch Officer of the Lake Nona Library. Thank you guys for being here. And Commissioner Gray, would you like to do a picture?
Sure, why not? Everybody wants me in a picture, don't they? Come on.
That we will move to the consent agenda, and the consent agenda is another number of items that are acted upon through a single vote of council. We allow council members to comment on the consent agenda and update you with important happenings from their districts. We rotate the order that we do that, and Commissioner Stewart is first off today. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your comments about Father Pender. I had the opportunity to meet Father Pender when he and my father and my mother worked on several civil rights issues in the 60s. And so I've kind of just never not known him. And so his passing really does, a giant oak has fallen in our community. And we would not be the community we are today if it weren't for him. So just simply put. There's a article I saw, a former director of the Historical Museum wrote an article about Nelson's kids, mentioned it about it. Right, Michael? I think it was, I saw Sarah had written that. And if you haven't had a chance to read that or see that play, get a chance to do that. It will help inspire you as to what you can accomplish if you just kind of remember that everybody in our community is equal. Special thanks to those involved in the budget workshop today. I know that it's a difficult task, but one of the tasks that we have on this dais is to spend the city's money. It comes from y'all, and they do a wonderful job making sure that we are handling every particular service the city touches. And when you look at the budget, you get a chance to see how much the city does. And I appreciate that. Special thanks to two new businesses we had a chance to open up over the last couple of weeks. Wafu over in East End Market, as well as the Bandbox in Ivanhoe Village. Please stop by those if you get a chance. On upcoming events we've got, Lou Gardens, Fairy Doors will start August 5th, and it gives me a chance to say some nice things about Robert Bowden. He hates me telling this, but I consider him my master gardener. Every time I have a question, and I have to give him a call, so he's going to have to give me his personal cell when all this is over, so I can figure out how to keep growing okra in my backyard. But I appreciate Robert so much. He embraced me when I became a commissioner, involved me in Lou Gardens and the work that they do, and it was important for us to continue that work. The legacy that this district took over from Commissioner Sheehan, and I'm so grateful that we've continue to work together to make sure that is one of our wonderful emeralds in our crown in the city. Safety Splash is August 2nd over at Community Center for District 3. All those in District 3, please come over. We'll get a chance to learn about how to be safe, how to be safe at school, as well as safe in your community. Please come over for a swim party on August 2nd. And then August 6th is the Ivanhoe Village cleanup, starting at Princeton Street, so you get a chance to do that as well. On the agenda today, let me mention a couple of quick things. We're awarding the contract for the playground equipment at Dartmouth Park. We should begin that project very soon. We've been working on it for a long time. I appreciate Parks and Rec and the work that they've done. We'll also be approving moving forward the dog park over at the Packing District. It'll be a regional dog park. We're excited about that moving forward. We'll hear some more about the Ambassador Hotel later on, but I'm excited about that moving forward. I think that will be a wonderful asset of that community, and it'll make our entire community safer because of it. On items D1 and D2, the College Park Historical Society is placing some markers in the community. I'm honored to help support them. This is our agreement as a public for memorials and markers contract. So that's there today, and I'll get a chance to approve that. And so that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Stewart. We'll move to Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. And I'd also like to give my condolences to the family of Father Nelson Pender. He was an amazing human being, and I remember as a young activist trying to work with people of faith and work with the LGBTQ community, because there was a real chasm between the faith community and the gay community. And we were having some meetings, and I walked in, and I was really nervous. And Father Pender walked up and gave me a big hug and said, "We are all God's children," and looked at all the other pastors in the room and said, "Aren't we?" And that's this kind of leadership he showed, because he just loved everybody, and he believed in equality for everyone. And it's just a tremendous loss to all of us, especially his family, but he did so much in this community. What a great man, and yes, what a tremendous loss to our community. But you know what? He lived a long and grand and wonderful life and did so much. Well done, good and faithful servant. And we lost someone else over the weekend, too. Doug Bowser was a entertainer in the LGBTQ community. He used to do the Trash to Trends for Keep Orlando Beautiful. He was an entertainer at the Fringe Festival. Just a wonderful, snarky, fun person who just did a lot to help our Keep Orlando Beautiful program. And in honor of Doug, hug your loved ones, even though Doug hated hugs. So let's keep both these wonderful gentlemen in our hearts and memories today. I also want to congratulate Chief Salazar, Chief Smith, and Corey Knight on their appointments. And I know you all will do a wonderful job in service to the city. On item A5 today is the Ocean Conservancy Partnership to explore how plastics and debris make their way from producer to environment, ultimately on their way to the ocean. So this is a great opportunity for us to try to be good stewards of our environment. On item B12, the bicycle beltway, we're working on providing a beltway all the way around Orlando, but there are some real concerns and how this is going to go through Thornton Park, especially with how this is going to interact with the ingresses and egresses to the high rises. So I think that's something in transportation that we really need to be aware of as we move forward. And on item F1 and 2 is our community development block grants. I just want to thank Eric Rawlings, who has served as my representative on community development block grants for many years, for his service, for some really great organizations to get funding. And that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to Commissioner Hill.
Of course. Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, everyone. I also want to extend my condolences to Father Pender's family. Father Pender was one of my high school teachers there at Jones High School, so we really enjoyed. He was such a big joker, even though he was this great leader. He was such a humble man. And I like to support here on C2 the minutes there. Just about 3 months ago, he called me over to his home to have lunch, never knowing what tomorrow hold. And Walter took me over there and escorted me, and we sat down about naming a street after him. Meaning his community, Miss Fannie Williams, led by her, was pushing that forth, and she's going to be here today. Just the Friday before he passed, Mayor, he called Miss Fannie over and said, "How are we doing with that renaming of that Nelson Pender Street?" And she told him it just was passed on the 21st at Municipal Planning and is moving forward, and he was delighted. And that Sunday he went on to be with the master, but he knew that we were in the process of renaming the street. Hopefully, if we pass it today now. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yes, and I know how big Trash to Trends was for you, Commissioner, and my condolences on your good friend. And also, congratulations is in order for Deputy Chief, soon-to-be Chief Eric Smith, that just like Chief Rolone, I've worked through the years with here in the community, and it's always been just a telephone call away. And I look forward to working with Chief Salazar. And Chief Rolone, thank you for your many years of service, and look forward to still doing good work in whatever capacity you find yourself in. Just a telephone call away, sir. On 7/12, I attended the Solar Board meeting along with Thomas Chapman, also with my staff, that was put together with Ms. Fernandez, which is our community outreach person for communications. and it was well attended. A lot of the questions that they had about downtown and the future of downtown was answered. I'd like to thank our clean team for showing up there for the community, and Thomas was the in facto co-representative. So Corey, he did your office well, and so nevertheless, I look forward to working with all of our downtown condo owners, along with the business owners. I think we started that conversation, Commissioner Gray, that you stated that you want to see more of, is that involvement with the businesses and the condo owners and some of their concerns that we have, and doing more to alleviate some of the issues that we see. So I look forward to meeting with you to tell you about some of the plans, sir. Thank you for your leadership. And I told them about the plan you and Mayor Dyer had. On 7/14, I, along with Commissioner Burns, brought greetings on behalf of the City of Orlando to the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Can't mess that up. I could not go back into the west side of Orlando if I did. It was their 48th Southern Regional Conference held at the Gaylord Palms. It was over 4,000 sorority sisters there, not of mine, but other Deltas from around the country and then the world. So it was, I think it was well attended. We did a great job. On 7/16, we had our second business workshop. Thank you to Kim King for her assistance, Sherry Gulch also for your assistance, and Jerry from the Entrepreneur course. We had over 50 attendants. That was our second session. It was well attended, and we talked about how new and aspiring business owners can get help with marketing secrets that propel their businesses into successful ventures. I know this council, and through Mayor Dyer's leadership, yearly support many of the small business incubators and those that help small businesses with almost close to $200,000 a year to make sure that our small businesses have the resources and tools that they need to expand or grow their businesses. My upcoming event on 7/30, starting at 10 a.m. in our newly renovated Lake Larned Park. We will have our 2022 annual Back to School celebration and food distribution, where residents will have the opportunities to gather food that is supplied by Second Harvest, one of our long partners, and school supplies that is being supplied by Jack and Jill, Humana Healthcare, Orlando City Soccer, Orlando Magic, and some other small businesses around the area. And then something that is much needed that's not thought about, that is a big expense, especially for parents that might be workforce and low income, is undergarments. And so through our partnership with A1 Orange, they are supplying over $15,000 of brand new undergarments, socks, and underwear and t-shirts are for the youth there in the District 5 area. And we will be also working with the Community Trust and my office to supply over 500 pair of shoes for these children to start stepping in the right direction when they get back to school. And what we want to do, we have over 20 vendors that will be speaking about trauma, mental health, health and wellness, after-school programs, and tutoring. We want to make sure that this is a holistic hand up, not a handout, where we want to address their health and wellness and job opportunities on that day to give these families the support that they need to make sure that the children have all that they need to be successful. And then on 8/2 at 1 o'clock, our Orlando Police Department will be doing their annual National Night Out, goes to summer camp. And this year in District 5, we will be holding it over at Soldiers to Scholars, partnership with UCF over on Kirkman Road in District 5. And with that, that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. And just before I go to Commissioner Burns, I was looking out at the audience and I spied our former Congresswoman Corrine Brown is here with us today. I didn't realize you would be here, Corrine, so you want to stand up and let me thank you for your service to your district. You didn't mind that, did you, Commissioner Burns?
Oh, no, not at all.
All right, Commissioner Burns.
All right, thank you, Mayor. And I, too, would like to start off acknowledging the passing of Father C. Nelson Pender, who was known as the father of the Orlando Civil Rights Movement, but also was the first full-time black priest of color for the Episcopal Church of St. John the Baptist. He will be missed, but his impact to our community will live on. So again, my condolences go out to his family. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of Miss Altamisa K. White, who was an educator with OCPS and started her career at Holden Street and then moved over to Washington Shores Elementary and taught first grade for over 42 years. She was also a committed member of Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church, where I had the opportunity to be nurtured by her. Miss White will truly be missed, and again, my condolences go out to her family. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of Miss Maddie Cooley Ings, the mother of Pastor Daniel Ings, and my condolences also goes out to the Ings family. On July 30th, I will host my annual back to school event, Bash, for students and parents in District 6. This year's event will take place at the brand new Grand Avenue Neighborhood Center with partners from OCPS, our Holden Heights Kids Zone, Jack and Jill, and many more. The event starts at 10 o'clock. We'll go from 10 to 1. And for more information, you can contact my office at 407-246-2006. In honor of Black, Indigenous, and People of Color Mental Health Awareness Month, we're bringing back our conversations with Black men to talk through important issues that are impacting our community. We will be hosting our next conversation on Wednesday, July 27th, starting at 6:30 p.m. Again, you can contact my office for more information. Last week, I had the honor of attending the MBK From the Heart with the students from the program who create their own poems and spoken word pieces, and we were honored to have Sean Welcome, the city's poet laureate, to join us and encourage the students. And one of the best things about this event, it was held right here in council chambers, and thanks to Abe, Bobby, and the entire MBK team for putting together such a great event. I think the students enjoyed it, but I believe I may have enjoyed it a little more than they did. Just hearing them, just showing the confidence to get up in front of individuals to speak, but also to share some pieces that they created themselves. So way to go to the MBK team. Also, as Commissioner Hill mentioned, Metro Orlando had the opportunity of hosting the regional convention of Delta Sigma Theta, as well as the 70th Boule of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. These two events had a huge economic impact to our communities, and so it was great for us to host them. And in speaking with some of their members, they had a great time and just kept raving about the city beautiful. So we were glad to host them. Also this week, our community will welcome Florida Cup and the FC Series with 2 games here. The first game will be Wednesday between Orlando City Soccer and versus Arsenal. And then the big game Saturday between Arsenal and Chelsea, which I understand has already sold over 54,000 tickets. So we anticipate a huge economic impact on our local community right in District 5 in Commissioner Hill's district. So we welcome them for those 2 games. Lastly, before I go into the agenda remarks, I'd like to welcome, I have 2 new interns here in District 6 office. Ms. Aja Richardson is a rising sophomore at Howard University. Stand up, Aja. She's a rising sophomore at Howard University with a major in political science. Also, Ms. Reese Taylor, who's a rising senior at Trinity Prep School. and she has a strong interest in politics and government, so they will be spending time with my office. Also, I'd like to welcome Ms. Maya Jack, our staff assistant, and just please help me to welcome these 3 young ladies to the city of Orlando. And for council agenda items, I would also like to acknowledge and congratulate Chief Charles Salazar for Chief of Orlando Fire Department, also Deputy Chief Eric Smith for your appointment, as well as Corey Knight to Director of Public Works. Look forward to spending some time with you all and working closely with you all to keep our community safe. Also on item C2, I'd like to express my support for the street name change from Marquise Court to Nelson Pender Circle, again in honor of Father Pender. And also, last thing, I will be abstaining from voting on item B17 on the consent agenda, which is approval of OPD substation lease. I have let the clerk know and will be filling out the necessary paperwork. And that concludes my comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to those 2 folks, Reverend Pender and the distinguished school administrator, one other name I'd like to add to that list as a leader who we've lost, and that is Mr. Maury Carter. Maury died last month at the age of 89 and left a wife, Elaine, of 63 years and 2 children, Daryl and Dana. But Maury moved here 35 years ago and is involved in some 200,000 acres of land, either buying, selling, or brokering, and really, I think, helped Central Florida develop. And so the names like communities he was involved with, certainly Lake Nona, Hunters Creek, Metro West, Eagle Creek, Keens Point, Harmony. These are all big master plan communities he had a hand in, and certainly in addition to the other 2 folks that have been mentioned earlier, he had a big, a big role in how Central Florida's developed. So certainly grateful for their contributions to this community. Also wanted to say a quick word of thanks to OPD and the volunteers who helped. We did a community shred event on Saturday. It was great to see neighbors and take some of their paper off their hands, but it's always fun. But thanks to OPD for giving up their Saturday to come out and help the neighborhood. On the agenda, a couple of items real quick. Certainly want to give my congratulations to the 2 public safety chiefs, Smith and Salazar, but I've got a 3rd chief, that's Corey Knight. So Corey, congrats. With as much public works as I have in District 1, he is my new chief. So Corey, thank you, and well deserved, and look forward to working with you, sir. On the agenda, I wanted to just kind of expand on what the mayor said about items B5 and B15. Those are our 2 public libraries. And I'll be brief, but I think it's important because around here we talk a lot about partnerships. And this is another, I think, just a great example of partnerships amongst municipalities and governing bodies. And I get far too much credit for this, so this is all for the staff. And it really, the credit goes to certainly Steve and the folks at Orange County, the directors, as well as the staff, Orange County's real estate staff, and our real estate staff, Lori Botts and Laura Carroll. But our dilemma was this, as you know, in rapidly growing areas like Horizons West and the Lake Nona area that I'm in, land prices are very expensive. And the library recognized a need for more facilities, but we had financial constraints. And so I charged our team with working with Orange County as well as the library system to try to come up with a format that we didn't have to choose one over the other, because certainly there'd be a winner, but there'd also be a loser. And they came up with a program where, because of our ownership of the airport, we were able to convince the folks at the airport to lease us some land so we didn't have the upfront cost. And then we worked with the library system to say, look, we're saving some money on the lease land, we pay for it over time, we can build your facility, you can lease from us, and when you're ready to buy, you can buy. And that allowed them to redeploy the capital dollars to Horizons West. So we kind of accommodated both facilities. It was a lot of give and take, but I think it's a perfect example of how we can all work together if we just talk about issues and try to find some solutions. So Stephen, thanks to you and your team. Lori and Laura, thank you for your help, but excited to now try to go from signing the documents to getting it built. So that's the next challenge, but look forward to that, and thank you all very much. 2 other items on the agenda quickly. I'm going to vote no on the historic preservation item C3, only because I think the ownership of that particular property doesn't seem to do anything right, so I'm going to say no on that one. And also on item B18, which is the tentative millage rate, as I said this morning, not saying it's wrong, but I just don't know enough about our budget yet to say if that's the right rate for property tax. So with that, Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes, Mayor, I'm going to hold my comments for next city council, and I move to approve the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Ortiz, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. If there's no objection, I'm going to recess the city council meeting and convene the CRA meeting. Thomas, let's see, I think I can handle the first 2. Actually, let's give everybody that was just here for the consent agenda an opportunity to make haste. Okay, first item of business is advisory board meeting minutes from April 27th. Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. CRA meeting minutes from May 16th.
Approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, number 3, Thomas.
All right, thank you, and good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Item number 3 today is approving amoeba funding agreement for RTW photography. I remind you that the amoeba program, of course, was initiated and approved in 2006 for the purpose of assisting with small business retention and creation within a targeted area of the downtown, that targeted area being Paramore. The program provides financial assistance of up to $40,000 to qualified new and existing retail or service businesses for relocation, retention, expenses, purchase of capital equipment, marketing services, and business startup expenses. So RTW Photography is a 5-year LLC located at 561 and 683 Paramore, North Paramore, which is the commercial component of Amelia Court, our mixed income and mixed use facility. The RTW provides primary services include photography, videography, and live stream services. One of the 3 owners is a licensed CPA, and the applicant has requested a MEBA grant for funding for capital equipment, rental abatement, and marketing in an amount just under $35,724. The MEBA Advisory Board has recommended approval, and if there are no questions, staff is requesting the CRA approval of the MEBA funding agreement, continuing guarantee and security agreement between the CRA and RTW Photography LLC, and authorize the chairman and the executive director of the CRA to execute said agreement subject to the review and approval of the City Attorney's Office.
Would approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, number 4, Thomas.
Thank you. Item number 4 is approving a high-wage, high-value job creation program for Granite Telecommunications. This is a companion to C14 that you just approved on the consent agenda. Again, I remind you that this program was created back in 2006 for the purpose of locating and targeted industries and targeted headquarters with high-wage, high-value jobs in the downtown area. The job creation incentives come in 3 areas that's job creation, downtown living incentives, and public transportations with a maximum incentive of up to $4,000 per job. Granite Telecommunications is obviously a telecommunications company that provides one-stop solutions for voice, data, internet access, wireless, video, and secure network options throughout the U.S. and Canada. They were founded 20 years ago in 2002. They're headquartered in Massachusetts. They have 2 locations here in downtown Orlando, one at 100 South Orange and the other at 2 South Orange. They're looking to create 25 high-wage jobs here over a 3-year period with an average wage of just over $65,300, which qualifies them for the program. During that process, they would expend approximately $2 million for build-out and capital equipment. And the total funding they would qualify for under this program would be $68,750. CRA Advisory Board, again, has recommended approval, and if there are no questions, staff is requesting approval of a program funding agreement between the CRA and Granite Telecommunications, LLC, and authorizing the chairman of the CRA to execute the agreement subject to review and approval by the City Attorney's Office, and approving expenditures from the Downtown Orlando Community Redevelopment Area Trust Fund in the amount of up to $68,750.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. And number 5.
Thanks again. And finally, number 5 is approving a use of the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority, or GOA, contract with AC Signs. For years now, CRA staff has been working on several wayfinding projects. You'll recall that we completely upgraded the vehicular wayfinding signage throughout downtown, and more recently have instituted and provided for new signage at all of the City of Orlando parking decks with greater visibility. And to further enhance the pedestrian experience, staff has worked with Applied, which is a spatial wayfinding company with more than 30 years of experience of designing pedestrian wayfinding systems all over the world. In some of the cities, largest cities in the world, including Rio de Janeiro, London, and Seoul. Staff today is interested in implementing the design from Spatial and having a local company, that being AC Signs, to both fabricate as well as install those signs. If you take a look at your monitor now, you're seeing what the kiosks would look like. You can see they're 8 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and 8 inches thick. They would be deployed in this case, 32 locations that you see on the map before you throughout the CRA. And staff is interested in implementing that system. Again, this company, AC Signs, has been chosen through a selective competitive process by GOA, and at this time is handling major contracts at both GOA as well as the Tampa International Airport, and we'd like to piggyback on those contracts. Also, I would mention to Mayor and the Council that we have, that CRA has had work done by AC Signs in the past, and that's been very satisfactory work, so we're very comfortable with the selection. CRA Advisory Board has recommended approval, and again, staff is requesting CRA authorization of the Chief Procurement Officer to contract with AC Signs for the purchase and installation of these pedestrian wayfinding signage in an estimated amount of $279,838.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so the motion carries. Thomas?
That's it, Mayor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, then we will stand adjourned as far as the CRA meeting, and we will reconvene the City Council meeting, and that brings us to hearings, Madam Clerk. So hearings, ordinances, first read, number 1.
Ordinance 2022-45, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to parking and loading, updating the requirements for driveways, parking spaces, off-site parking facilities, parking garages, modifying the boundaries of the downtown parking area, and amending definitions, clarifying terms, providing legislative findings, and for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. Okay, I have a request from Alexis Ellis to speak on this. Alexis Ellis.
Good afternoon, everybody. Honored to be here today.
Did you just give your name and address for the record?
Okay, Alexis Ellis, Can you say address? 430 Sunset Drive, Apartment 5, 32805, Orlando, Florida. As far as the hearings and ordinance of all driveway, excuse me, garages, downtown parking. And I'm gonna just add in transportation as well. It doesn't make sense when you have empty properties and you asking to upgrade parking lots, sidewalks, or pavements. I'm just gonna say pavements. I walked around the city for years, and I don't see too much of an approval of anything being accomplished except for within this last year or so. As being a resident and a big-time investor in this city, I'm not appalled, pleased at what's been taking place. Order is not order. Everyone is not in their respectable places for this to continue on. Acknowledgement is not being given to the proper people as well. Transportation has been doing great so far. I've been having complaints from links. They're not satisfied. Employees. You cannot continue to keep adding transportation when the transportation services are not being accurately appeased as well. This is the only area that I could speak on right now. But my name was also Alexis Washington, and a few of the deceased members of the city that y'all have mentioned, I was pleased to meet them at a younger age. I actually just happened to stop by the Episcopal this morning, did not know Mr. Nelson had passed, just walking by, because they started a vacation Bible school. Mayor, I'm grateful to you for holding your position and your word that come from the heart. Now, everybody else, excuse me, because it is getting out of standing, I'm gonna take my seat after this. I don't appreciate my telecommunications being hacked. As we in person now, that's how I like to be approached. Don't approach me behind the scene and speak to my commuters if you can't address me in person. I am human. Everything that's on this agenda was displayed behind the scene. I agreed to some things in knowledge and some things out of knowledge. So I ask that a lot of this get reviewed with me being present.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Commissioners, this is an ordinance that requires a public hearing after 5:00 p.m. for the second reading unless we vote by a supermajority to hold the second public hearing at our normal city council meeting. Staff recommends that we hold the second public hearing at our regularly scheduled city council meeting beginning at 2:00 on August the 15th, 2022. Do I hear such a motion?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, number 2.
Ordinance number 2022-47, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending Chapter 56 City Code Transportation Impact Fee by amending Section 56.02 intent and purpose to incorporate an updated impact fee study, by amending 56.04 definitions, by amending Section 56.06 determination of transportation impact fees related to accessory dwelling units, by amending 56.15 exemptions, by amending Exhibit A impact fee rate schedule, by providing severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances and actions, codification, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. Madam Clerk, anyone wishing to testify?
No speakers, Mayor.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, let's move to hearings, ordinances, second reading, number 1.
Ordinance number 2022-32, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan, future land use element to delete sub-area policy S.39.6 and to expand the boundary of sub-area policy S.39.1, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Any testimony, Madam Clerk?
No speakers, Mayor.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2022-38, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to the Paramore Heritage Zoning Overlay District, amending Part 2A1, Chapter 58, Orlando City Code to permit the limited expansion and relocation of certain existing social services uses within the Paramore Heritage Zoning Overlay District, providing legislative findings and for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Okay, I know we have a number of people who wish to comment on this particular item. I'll start with a email that was received this morning and has been distributed to council from Carmen Resnick, 735 West Concord Street, Orlando 32805, who speaks in support of the staff's recommendations. Next is Mr. Phil Cowart, followed by Melinda Young, and then Anna Ashe. If everybody could state their name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to address council.
Do I have 8 minutes or 3 minutes?
3.
Okay, I'm going to try to get through this. If I can't get through this, I have a couple of people that might be willing to give me a minute or two of their time. My name is Philip Coward. My address is 1101 West Church Street. I'm the owner of residential and commercial properties in the Paramore neighborhood. We are here to ask questions. We are here to ask that the LDC in our area protections not be changed and the current rules continue. If the proposed LCD change is passed, we will appeal. This is our reporter, by the way. We will not quit until we get the truth out. The current GMP and LDC sections were initiated over 20 years ago when I discovered and advised the mayor and the commission that the proposed social service ordinance would have continued and expanded the overconcentration of social services in the Paramore neighborhood. I'm sure Commissioner Sheehan remembers that. She was on the commission that time and was involved in that. We have used the current LDC multiple times to defend the neighborhood against increased overconcentration. Examples are, number one, the city attempted to move the healthcare center for the homeless to the corner of Church and Westmoreland. And number two, the city attempted to move the Union Rescue Mission to West Anderson Street. The proposed move of the Union Rescue Mission to West Anderson Street was the result of the Magic's purchase of its site at West Central and Division and the failure of the city to gain permission from the county to move it to a location in the county. The Union Rescue Mission is now on West Colonial. It has been deconcentrated. Question: how many Paramore area homeowners and commercial property owners made their investments based upon the city promise to reduce the concentration of social services in Paramore? If the LDC is changed and the promised protections removed, what will be the remedy for the area homeowners and property owners? How is it possible that we contacted approximately 1,000 Paramore area stakeholders and did not find one who knew of or supported this proposed LDC change? Why, when asked by a long-term resident homeowner about the potential change, did Walter Hawkins advise her it only had to do with minor repairs needed to existing facilities? Why, when we asked Mark Checkman and his staff which social service or city official requested the LDC change, we were told that none, and that the staff had taken it upon themselves to do this. Is making such a decision the responsibility of the staff without direction? Why, when we asked Mark Checkman and his staff for a map showing the area social services and the proposed 300 feet areas around them in which they could move, were we told to draw it ourselves? What is the city staff hiding? How could the staff suggest or propose the change without a map?
Okay, time's up.
Well, I'm about half through. So, I guess I'll have to ask someone for help. Thank you.
Roy, can you remind me what the procedure is about giving time?
There's no proceeding your time to the speaker. Another speaker wants to read those cards and finish those up. We can do it that way, or he can turn the cards in to the clerk, and she can make them a part of the record.
You can't give your time to Mr. Cowart. You can take his cards and read his cards if you would like for 3 minutes.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just want to point out the problem with the healthcare center for the homeless and what the city's been up to.
Okay, the next speaker is Madeline Young.
My name is Chuck Kenyon.
It's not your turn yet. It's Madeline Young and then Anna Ashe.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't your turn. We call them in the order we got the cards. So it is Madeline Young.
No, I'm not going to
Anna
read his
Ashe.
cards. I was part of the meeting with the staff.
Sir, we take these in the order that if you turn one in. Have you turned an appearance request in?
I'm sorry, what is he saying?
He's number 6 on the list.
He's what?
Number 6 on the list.
Okay, you're number 6 on the list.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to wait. Bring the card.
Here, I'm going to call the first 6. It's Madeline Young, our next 6, Anna Ashe, Luana Gelzer, Benjamin Millian, and Charles Kenyon. Okay, Madeline Young.
Yes, I'm here on virtual. This is Madeline Young. I live at 814 West Concord Street in the Lake Dock neighborhood. First, I would like to thank the Municipal Board, Planning Board, and the City Council for recommending this amendment. It's a humanitarian thing to do. Now, of course, it will not solve all the issues that the social services and our community must deal with, but at least it's a start. I also support this amendment because it mentioned that establishment of new facilities will continue to be prohibited within the PH area. In addition, after receiving a letter in the mail that omitted several facts regarding this amendment, I had to speak up in support of those who this amendment will help, including me as a longtime homeowner in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Annie Ashe.
Hello, Commissioners, Mayor. My name is Anna Ashe of 739 West Concord Street, Orlando, Florida, 32805. I am the president of the Lake Dot Village Neighborhood Association, which encompasses the area between Huey to OBT, Colonial to Livingston. I have lived in this neighborhood for 10 years now. Our neighborhood is directly impacted by this ordinance, and I am here today to voice my full and wholehearted support for this ordinance on behalf of our board. We feel that we are adversely impacted by the current ordinance, as our community is the home of multiple social services and therefore a destination for many individuals experiencing homelessness. Currently, the facilities as they stand, unable to upgrade or expand, are a blight to our community. They are in disrepair and woefully under capacity to meet the urgent needs of our community. Throughout the pandemic and subsequent housing crisis of skyrocketing rents and inflation, we continue to see the impacts of our community rise in alarming numbers. What those who oppose this ordinance are saying is true as far as our community bearing a burden of dealing with human excrement, trespassing, and camps. However, many of those who are opposing do not live in this community and do not speak for those of us who do. In their attempt to spread fear through offensive mass communications, they failed to include that this ordinance would not allow for any new social services to move in or to give a viable alternative option. We believe that expanding the capacities of the existing facilities to be able to get more people off the street and have access to resources and restrooms is the only viable solution moving forward. We also believe that having the ability to relocate within the community that they serve to more strategic areas for our neighborhood development can allow us to plan our neighborhood in a way that benefits everyone. Our community will continue to be the hub of homelessness for Central Florida, as this is where the resources to eat lunch, get dinner, a shower, do laundry, meet with a case manager, attend medical appointments are located. This ordinance will not change that. It will only allow these services to be able to upgrade and improve their capacity to serve these members of our community in need and in a place that is accessible to transit and in proximity to other services. The alternative is to allow the status quo, which is not working. We have asked for some time for a single-stall bathroom to be installed, as there are no public restroom facilities on this side of I-4 in our boundaries. The east side has bathrooms at Lake Eola, the library, and senior centers. We have none that are available in the evenings, so when people get pushed from Lake Eola to Lake Dot, there's nowhere for them to go. We would ask that this be taken into consideration, as we will continue to bear the brunt of hosting people experiencing homelessness with or without this ordinance passing. Expanding services and shelter bed capacity that is vitally needed in a city that is the second most unaffordable in the nation and one of the lowest wage-paying economies in the nation is not what will increase the unhoused population. It's already happening, and they're already here. Not expanding will absolutely increase the numbers we see on the streets and the adverse impacts to our community. I shudder to think what will become of these buildings and our neighborhood if we don't do the right thing for both our housed and unhoused neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Luana Gelzer, and then Benjamin Milan, and Charles Kenyon. Is Ms. Gelzer here? Okay, I don't see Ms. Gelzer. Benjamin Milian. Benjamin? No. Okay, Mr. Kenyon.
My name is Chuck Kenyon, 1101 West Church Street, representing TBDTR, among others. Gentlemen, I went to a meeting with your staff in which we were totally lied to. Everything we were told was incorrect and an evident lie. You have two members of your commission which have a direct interest and have had a direct interest in the coalition, in the Daily Bread, and now Mr. Backery's operation. It would seem to me that you have a real serious conflict of interest in what you're trying to do. Why would you be trying to expand the homeless providers, Mr. Backery's homeless provider, into the Paramore neighborhood? Why would you be trying to do all this? What is exactly the purpose? Come over, see the homeless encampments, the tents, the people sleeping on the street, the people crossing the road without looking. I'm really, truly amazed at you. I really am. And I didn't think I could be amazed. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to destroy the rest of the city? This is a destruction effort, worthy of Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is in a destruct mode. Are we trying to do the same thing here? Are we trying to become Los Angeles or San Francisco with drug needles all over the town? What have you accomplished? What are you trying to accomplish? I think the general community needs an answer to that question. I've said enough. I've had it with you folks.
Okay, Mr. Akins, Guy Akins. Paul Ellis.
Good afternoon, Mayor Dyer, members of the City Council. My name is Guy Akins. I reside at 2656 Clear Cove Lane. My zip code is 32805. I serve as the chairman of the Deacon Ministry for Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. It's located at 535 West Washington Street in the Paramore District. Just feet from our largest emergency center. I'm representing the church and our pastor, the Reverend Dr. Robert M. Spooney, in support of the proposed amendment to the Paramore overlay. Mount Zion has been part of the Paramore community even before it was referred to as Paramore, with our founding date back to 1880. We have served the residents of this neighborhood spiritually and physically for more than 142 years, from food drives to blood drives, from support for education to support for the elderly. Mount Zion is and always has been concerned about not just our church and its members, but our neighbors as well. These neighbors include those who are experiencing homelessness. Mount Zion has partnered with our social service neighbors, such as the Coalition for the Homeless and the Christian Service Center. For many years, we were very active with the Christian Service Center's Fresh Start program that housed 24 men in need. We're excited that the Christian Service Center is bringing back the Fresh Start program in another form as a day services center, serving our neighbors by getting them housed, hired, and healthy. We are even more excited that the programs like the Coalition and the Christian Service Center are working to end people's homelessness. This has not always been the case. The effort to actually house our neighbors in greatest need is a new initiative born from national best practices initiated during President Obama's administration. These best practices are successful locally with hundreds of men, women, and children ending their homelessness through the efforts of our brothers and sisters at these important institutions. No one is comfortable with people living or camping on our properties illegally. No one is comfortable with drug use in our neighborhoods. No one is comfortable with our children having to step over others.
You can finish your thought right there.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
No one is comfortable with our children having to step over others on their way to and from school, having to dodge spent needles and beer cans on the sidewalks. But we will not fix this by limiting the ability of our social service agencies from doing their job. We will only fix this by adopting national best practice in the fight against homelessness. Our cities have ended homelessness. If other cities have ended homelessness, if they can, Orlando can as well. But we will only do so if we modernize our approach.
Mr.
Mount Zion's
Akins,
membership,
just wind it up right there if you
I
would.
got 2 more. Mount Zion's membership, under the guidance of our pastor, is fully supportive of the amendment being proposed today that will allow such modernization, and we look forward to partnering with the city in an effort to make our community safer, healthier, free of anyone having to experience the horror of homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Ellis. And Richard Hernandez is after that.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Ellis. My address is 1316 Reading Drive, Orlando, Florida 32804. I am a coalition board member and I am the co-chair of the real estate committee. My role is CEO of Foundry Commercial, and we have offices all over the Southeast and over 2,000 associates. Foundry is headquartered here in Orlando. I was born and raised in this community. In my role, one of the great things that happens is I get to spend time in a lot of great cities around the country in the Southeast and in Texas. And one trait that I see across many of these great cities is that they are intentional about the quality of care to the most vulnerable in those communities, something that we know Orlando is focused on. The current state of our Women and Children's Center is close to being functionally obsolete. At some point in the near future, its physical condition will not allow us to care for these families at all. Without this amendment, we run the real risk of not being able to care for these families at all in our facility. These families are facing these challenges through no fault of their own. Job loss, medical issues, affordability are all impacting these groups. Our job at the coalition is to help stabilize their situation in hopes of finding permanent housing, and the facility is a key part of that effort. As you think about supporting this amendment, my encouragement is to do so within the context of supporting women and children and families in our community. They need our help because in addition to all of the great things that we have in Orlando, world-class communities are intentional about their support of the most vulnerable in the communities. It is one of the things that sets them apart, and I hope that Orlando continues in that tradition. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Hernandez, Mike Perkins. Richard Hernandez, Michael Perkins.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Michael Perkins, 13644 Sun Shower Circle, Orlando. I serve on the Board of Directors of the Christian Service Center. And I've served on that board for nearly 2 years. And in that time, I've seen a tremendous difference the center makes within our community. In its 50 years of existence, the center has served over 5 million meals, collected millions of pounds of food for distribution, clothed tens of thousands of people, and provided other services desperately needed by those experiencing homelessness in Orlando. During most of these 50 years of service, the center has been within the same footprint. But since the overlay was adopted 12 years ago, we have been unable to make needed upgrades to our facilities and hesitant to make the simplest changes to our campus for fear of violating the ordinance we are discussing today. The Christian Service Center's plans for upgrading its campus do not establish, expand, or relocate any activities. The footprint of the campus will remain the same. These needed upgrades will improve the look of the campus and make it safer for clients, staff, and our neighbors. We simply hope to use our existing built square footage and acreage as best we can to modernize our services to better fit current best practices. There is no plan of expansion of the site or the services that the center provides, which are needed by so many people in our community. I encourage the board to pass this revision of this ordinance and allow the Christian Service Center and other social service agencies in Paramore the chance to upgrade their facilities for the good of the organizations and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Martha R. And then Eric Gray. And Danny Persad after Eric Gray.
Call me out of order, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Martha R., Chief Executive Officer of the Homeless Services Network. We're down at 142 East Jackson Street. We are the lead agency for the continuum of care for our region with Orange, Osceola, Seminole, Orlando, Kissimmee, and Sanford. As that lead agency, we do not provide direct services, but we work with our partners who do provide the direct services. In recent years, those partners have come together with you to embrace evidence-based and emerging best practices in partnership with collaboration to advance our region's Housing First initiative. The goal of Housing First is you get people in permanent housing as quickly as possible, and then you provide wraparound services to help them maintain and sustain that housing. Through that initiative, the City of Orlando, which is just one of the governments that from our continuum of care, covers approximately 70% of the rent for more than 380 of our most vulnerable neighbors who used to be homeless. That's our goal. That's the ultimate goal. We want to get people off the streets and into permanent housing. But we know we need a lot more housing units to make that happen, and that's going to take a while. So in the meantime, we want people to get the best services possible. And we want those services to be focused at that pathway, the trajectory into housing. Those services are provided by our critical partners, including those in this area. The Salvation Army, the Christian Service Center, who've all been in place since before the overlay was passed. Actually, those who just celebrated 50 years. Those partners plan how to best serve the ever-evolving needs of the homeless community. And as research identifies the most strategic interventions, those partners, some are in kind of desperate shape to revise, to upgrade, to improve their facilities. But unfortunately, the current policy prohibits them from upgrading the facilities, providing the services to implement the newer research evidence-based practices. The amendment being proposed will allow these long-standing partners to do what they do best, help people experiencing homelessness get off the streets, but it still protects the neighborhood from new services opening up in Paramore. Our ultimate collective goal remains getting unsheltered homeless people into housing. But we need our partner agencies to provide the services to our most vulnerable neighbors. Amending the overlay policy will allow us to do that while balancing the needs of the community, and I hope you will support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Gray, and then Danny Prasad, and then Rashawn Moore.
Eric Gray, Executive Director at the Christian Service Center, 808 West Central Boulevard here in Orlando, 32805. I'd like to express sincere gratitude to the city staff, who are just amazing, and the city leadership for taking such a proactive role in trying to end homelessness here in Orlando. A decade ago, under your leadership, Mayor Dyer, the city of Orlando, as you know, embraced the Housing First philosophy. And even in one of the toughest housing markets in the world, we are still getting people off the streets and into their own homes. Orlando was the largest city without a comprehensive day services center for those experiencing homelessness. And the board of directors for the Christian Service Center, even before my time, agreed to tackle this particularly critical need for our community. One of the barriers to modernizing our existing campus to meet these needs has been the Paramore Overlay Zoning Ordinance. And I'm here today, along with dozens of others, all wearing purple, most of them wearing purple, in support of this proposed amendment. The original ordinance, which was put in place more than a decade ago, has served a positive purpose in that rather than just having dozens of social service agencies move into the city's most historic neighborhood, we instead now have 2 new sports arenas, a major university campus in the area, among other important improvements such as new apartment complexes and improvements to public parks. During this time, however, existing social service agencies such as the Salvation Army, the Coalition for the Homeless, and the Christian Service Center have had some barriers to modernizing their services to meet national best practice, as we learn very rapidly how best to serve and reduce the number of homeless adults in our community. The challenges with modern homelessness are really relatively new just in the last 50 years, since housing became the most expensive part of any family's budget. The availability of affordable housing is the most common and most accurate variable to predict the rise in homelessness among any American city. With Orlando's status as one of the hardest places to find affordable housing, unfortunately, I think a storm is coming. The minor changes being made to the overlay zoning ordinance will not solve homelessness in our community, but they will act as another vital step towards allowing 3, at least, of the most significant homeless service agencies in Central Florida to modernizing their approach to better serve the growing needs of a very fast-growing community. Any opposition to this minor amendment should consider the reality that our community is experiencing. The homeless problem in Paramore is not going to go away on its own. It needs help, and this is the right way to do it. It's a shame that all the shelters in our area happen to be in District 5. It'd be certainly much more fair to have much smaller shelters in each city district, and maybe one day we can make that happen. However, until we can get the existing agencies fighting homelessness to a place of successful outcomes using national best practice, we'll never be able to make the case that the burden should be shared throughout our entire community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Danny Prasad. Danny Prasad waives his time. Rashawn Moore. Jeff Weeble is after Rashawn.
Thank you to the City Council and the city staff for this hearing today and for allowing us the opportunity to speak towards the positive benefits of this amendment to the overlay ordinance.
Rashawn, give us your name and address.
I am. My name is Rashawn Moore, and my address is 830 McFall Avenue, Orlando, Florida, 32805. I am a Paramore homeowner living here for 21 years, the vice chair of the Paramore Community Engagement Council, the president of McFall Neighborhood Association, and a business owner mentoring young girls throughout the community. I am also an active volunteer with one of our many social services agencies in Paramore, where I serve dinner on a regular basis through the Straight Street Evening Food Share program held at the Christian Service Center campus Monday through Friday at 5:30 p.m. When Commissioner Lynham championed the overlay ordinance 20 years ago, it served a strong and positive purpose in that we wanted to grow and expand new types of businesses in the Paramore area, and not just expand social service agencies moving to the community with an exceeding high rate of poverty. In that time, we have seen the addition of some pretty amazing projects, such as the downtown UCF campus and Valencia Joint Campus, Exploria Stadium, the new and renovated Amway Arena, and beautiful apartments and condominium complexes. The unintended consequences of the overlay was that for existing social services agencies such as the Christian Service Center, the Coalition for the Homeless, and the Salvation Army, the ability for them to modernize and keep up with national best practices was curtailed and made more difficult. I am here today to support not only the modernization of our extremely important social service agencies in the Paramore community, but also the Paramore Heritage community itself. In a neighborhood with an over 40% rate of poverty immediately adjacent to downtown, we are going to have homeless adults and children, whether we like it or not. So let's do our best to end homelessness for good. You see, over the last 20 years, the process of serving homeless adults has changed dramatically, and I have seen such places such as the Coalition and Salvation Army move from simply warehousing people to now actively working to get them out of homelessness and into housing. I've also seen facilities like the Christian Service Center go from serving people from 1 hour a day to now allowing them to find a safe space away from those who would do harm to them throughout the day. I'm excited for what is yet to come to the Paramore Heritage community, and I'm also excited for what is to come with our wonderful social service agencies as they work to not only better manage the homeless population in our community, but potentially to end homelessness in our community as a whole. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jeff Weeble.
Hi, guys. Jeff Weibel.
Weibel, sorry.
That's all right. I mean, you've been to my house. I'm at 445 South Paramore Avenue, Orlando, Florida, 32805. I own some properties in Paramore, and one of the reasons why I bought them was that they passed the ordinance to limit the expansion of social services. So, number one, I just want to say that homelessness is a huge problem, and whatever we're doing now is not working. it's just not working. It's gotten worse and worse over the last couple of years. And it's really, really bad right now. I mean, I know that they just fenced off a lot across from the K-8 school because it was a tent city. So we're seeing those pop up all over. It's an issue that needs more attention than this meeting, but I'll just leave it at that. I'm against the expansion. The renovation, I'm not against. But the expansion of the social service and buildings to bring in all the homeless into Paramore is what I'm against. And I wanted to let you know that. And I also wanted to let you know that we have a big problem in Paramore. I see it every single day. I pulled a mattress off my porch this morning. I have cameras on some of my properties where I see a lot of things going on, and I'm constantly yelling through the Ring camera. So it's a very important issue. I hope that you guys address it more than this, but I am opposed to the expansion of all the social services being in Paramore and would like to see them spread throughout the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Joan Stewart. And then Gustavo Rivera Vasquez.
Good afternoon. My name is Joan Stewart. My property is at 1008 West Church Street. It's been there for over 25 years. I am a person that has always tried to help homeless people. I think what homeless people need is a job. I am struggling with crime on my property. I just had a call on Saturday afternoon. I don't know what you people were doing on Saturday afternoon, but I was dealing with the alarm company. I would love to help the people in the Paramore area. I have walked around that area. I have driven around that area. I love the people there, and I'd love to help them. But you are creating more people that are in that area that have the same issue of not wanting to work, and you're going to expand that whole idea to these people. And that is a bad thing. You are going to change the whole concept of what Paramore is trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Gustavo Rivera Vasquez. Gustavo. Josephine Felder. Somebody representing the Powell family?
Good morning, or good afternoon. I am one of the residents of the project that the city had, Heroes Commons. So I know all too well about homelessness. But I want to...
Could you give us your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yana Powell, and I'm at 1204 West Jefferson Street, a few doors down from where you are planning to do the homeless medical facility. Yes. So I just want to know, did you really think about us, the residents that are in that area? Did you consider us? Or did you just see a property and decided to put it there after all the work that we have done, being the 6 veteran families that have moved into that area? We were tasked when we took on this responsibility of being the Heroes Commons, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, of being the Heroes Commons at Jefferson Point veterans. We were tasked with understanding the community that we were moving into, as Ms. Regina had told me 5 years ago.
You got a free home.
I earned that home. I served my country for that home.
So did I, but you said as I told you.
As you told me, to be understanding, what is so derogatory about that? And that's the problem that I have with Miss Regina, and I'm wasting my time because she's so combative. We, the veterans at Heroes Commons at Jefferson Park, endured for the last 5 years the children on our roofs, the prostitutes taking johns in our carports and driveways, the homeless knocking on our doors at night, and the multiple calls to the police department. On top of my daughters, I have 4 daughters, 3 of which, one is in college, 2 have graduated. My son is now graduated. He's now also serving our country. Did you consider what we will endure dealing with the homeless lining up at the doors before the open of business, or the ones that will stay and linger after just because it serves the homeless populace? Did you consider the 2 murders on Jefferson Street and the 1 murder on Polk Street? My children have never been exposed to any of this until we moved here. During the holidays, all the traffic we already see during major events at holidays with no consideration for the cleanup that we have to do to clean up our yards to keep the project beautiful. The sleeping, the defecating, the urinating on or near our properties, but you don't want that to happen near the city. You don't want any of that to be there. If you consider this project, if it's approved, did you consider a stronger police presence, or can you guarantee the protection of our established properties and person from the influx of the homeless in the area, and can you guarantee the protection of our children from this populace? No, you can't, and I know for sure you did not really consider us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes, Mayor, I just wanted to make a statement. Because of a lot of the comments that have been made in opposition of this, I can tell that there's been a misinformation campaign and some misguided information. I just want to clear the air that the Healthcare Center for the Homeless is not looking to move into Paramore. So I'm not sure where that came from, but I would encourage everyone to get the facts right, do your own research, and not just rely on information that may be coming to you. So thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, in the property that we passed today, where we're going to put part at $58 million, we have not decided what we're going to do with the Jefferson purchase that we've just done there on Polk and Jefferson and OBT. That hasn't been decided. That is not going to be a shelter or a health center or anything of that nature. So there has been this fictitious campaign that has been launched that we're expanding the Paramore footprint. That's not happening.
Yeah, there's apparently a lot of misinformation that's out there. Because this does not expand services. It allows people to, or the 3 organizations primarily, to upgrade their
Right.
facilities that are right now lost in the 70s or the 80s.
Absolutely.
I still have 3 more, Stephanie. You have 2 more? Okay. Tara Klein. Tara Klein, then Hazel Heyer, and then Gerald Smith.
Hello, my name is Tara Klein. I want to thank you all for allowing us to come and listen today. First off, I want to thank you all for blessing my family with a home, because I too was a homeless vet. We were told some information. I thank you for clearing it up, because at the same time, you know, we worry. My children don't go outside and play because they're afraid. I only been living in my home for 3 years, and between 2 blocks south, 2 blocks north, there have been 7 murders. You know, and it's just children killing children. And we're afraid. I done had, you know, people come try to break in my home 3 times within 24 hours. I got it on camera. I've contacted law enforcement. You know, we just want to be taken care of. You know, we just want to make sure that, you know, I'm not opposing the shelter for, you know, the homeless or the medical facility. We all need medical care, you know, and by me being a disabled veteran, I too know how important it is to be taken care of, especially after going through traumatic events. All I'm saying is, you know, watch, pay attention to, you know, where you put it at, because a lot of our children have never been exposed to it. And again, you know, we're thankful. We appreciate the hard work, the money that you put into it, because you could have picked anybody, but you chose us. And so we are thankful. We just want to make sure that, you know, our kids are taken care of. That's all. Thank you.
And thank you for your service. And as Mayor Dyer just stated, we are very thoughtful about the responsibility we have to the Paramore area, and there has been meetings. There is not going to be an extension of any new services in Paramore. What this particular ordinance is doing, as was stated, is enhancing the services that's already there so that we can move forward. They're outdated. As you see, this will help, I believe, personally, help bring more people into these facilities so that we can give them wraparound services, so we can give them mental health treatment, so that we can make them more productive adults. It's just like when myself and you returned home from the service, there was no real things in place. I know for me, when I came home and ended up going down the wrong trail because nothing was put in place. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to give everyday folks, because they're sisters, there's somebody's daughters, there's somebody's sons, there's somebody's husband, a wife that have fallen down on their luck or might have some other type of substance issues or mental health. In these facilities, we're going to make sure that they get funding to bring those folks there so that we can have safer communities. We can't do this heavy lifting from this dais. We need community partners, and they need resources and funding. I can guarantee you, I can't say that there might not be a mixed income commercial component over on Jefferson. I would love to see something like that, but it will not be a mental health facility. It will not be a shelter, but it will be something that's all inclusive while everybody rides. And it was stated that none of the commissioners have been working with the service providers. I've been intimately involved with them every step of the way, and they have been working with staff. And staff made sure they wanted to put an ordinance together that understood that it was just for truly human services, and it wasn't to expand more beds. Now, and I don't know about you, but I'm in full support of the Coalition for the Homeless, creating a better housing for those women and children. Because I don't know, it's women and children call our office every day, and there is just no beds or anywhere for them right now. With the increase in rent and living wages not going up, there is a crisis for women and children, and we have to promote that. Me and you are both females, and we know how it is to have to raise kids alone. So I guarantee this mayor and this council are not doing this lightly. There has been some misinformation out there about what this ordinance entails, and it is nothing to negatively impact the community. It is to get the folks from popping up tents next to your house. It is to get them from, maybe having some substance abuse issues and get them into rehab of some sort so that they won't have to be coming through your window. Anybody else window, no matter where we're at in the city. So thank you for your service, and I apologize for that, but it does hurt a little bit when you say what you said, and I know how hard we fought to make sure we created that Heroes Common, and thank you all for your service and giving you a key to help us revitalize that neighborhood. So I probably was out of line, but it was somewhat hurtful to me to know that, everybody didn't get the opportunities that you all got. And so just thank you for your patience. And as you know, I've been working with you all from day one and tried to do whatever we could to make sure that it was safe and comfortable around there. And we're still committed to that.
And to be totally transparent, the only medical facility that I'm aware of right now that's coming to Paramore is associated with the Orlando Magic training facility. So if I say there's no medical facilities, I just want to say there is one, but it's with Magic. So what this does is it doesn't add any more beds to any of the facilities. It just lets them bring their services up to the 21st century. Okay, Hazel Heyer. And then Gerald Smith. And Madam Clerk, did you have more?
Gerald is for another ordinance.
Good afternoon.
Hazel Heyer will be the last speaker on this ordinance.
Okay. All right, Hazel Heyer.
Oh, okay. I'm Hazel Heyer. I'm a real estate agent, and I'm an investor in Paramore. I've invested in 811 Washington, 733 West Anderson, 1120 West South, 1212 West Anderson, just Mr. Phil Coward's ex-property, 812 Collier, 740 West Anderson, 742 West Anderson, and my latest is 1025 Plymouth, a little bit further. I really don't agree that this ordinance should be passed, as this can go against the very reason I invested in Paramore and the beauty that surrounds the vision of the creative village. My properties have been vandalized and broken into by homeless individuals, sir, and I would like to report that some have been very hard on me because I fixed windows 3 times on a property that was trying to rent out to a resident of Paramore. 3 times broken into, and people have used toilets and, you know, in a very disgusting way. I don't, I cannot keep going back to the property anymore, but I got it rented out. One of my tenants was a victim of sex trafficking. I'm not sure if investing ever more will serve my purpose of growing my interest in the Paramore area with having my investments affected by expanding homeless facilities, impacted downwards by the future home valuations. The ordinance looks to me like a magnet to more homeless individuals moving to Paramore from all over Central Florida and beyond. Also, as a real estate agent, I have promoted Paramore to my clients as though it was my own hometown. I love the idea of the creative village and that centerpiece of the creative village providing more opportunities and growth to the area of Paramore. How long can the stars of creative village keep shining and sparkling in an environment with more homeless shelters in our backyard is my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is that the last one?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, discussion. I think that we have corrected the record on some of the stuff that's been said. Everybody good with where we are? Okay, all in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all for your testimony. Madam Clerk, ordinances, first reading number 1.
Ordinance number 2022-27, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located south of New Hampshire Street, north of Kilwelt Lane, and east of Mercy Drive, comprised of 9.862 acres of land, more or less, from residential medium intensity to office medium intensity, changing the property zoning designation from medium intensity development with the Wekiva Overlay District to medium intensity office residential with the Wekiva Overlay District in part, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second. Please do the easy one, Commissioner Hill. Okay, motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Madam Clerk, any cards?
No speakers, Mayor.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2.
Ordinance number 2022-33, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located north of East Michigan Street, east of Marlborough Street, south of East Jersey Avenue, and west of Gowen Street, and comprised of 0.88 acres of land, more or less, and amending the city's boundary description, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as residential low-intensity and mixed-use corridor medium-intensity on the city's official future land use maps, designating the property as the 1 to 2 family residential and medium-intensity mixed-use corridor zoning districts, both with the traditional city overlay district on the city's official zoning maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. Madam Clerk, any cards?
No speakers, Mayor.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3.
Ordinance number 2022-34, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the future land use map of the city's growth management plan from Community Activity Center to industrial in part and land located at 1750 Lee Vista Boulevard, Lee Vista parcel from industrial to conservation in part for land located at 6708 Hazeltine National Drive, Hazeltine parcel, and from conservation to Metropolitan Activity Center in part for land located on McCoy Road, McCoy parcel, amending the city's zoning maps to change the zoning designation from Community Activity Center with the aircraft noise overlay to Industrial Park with the aircraft noise overlay district for the Lee Vista parcel in part, from conservation with the aircraft noise overlay district to Metropolitan Activity Center with the aircraft noise overlay district for the McCoy parcel in part, and from Industrial Park with the aircraft noise overlay district to conservation with the aircraft noise overlay in part for the Hazeltine parcel, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. I note that Cecilia Bonifay is available by Zoom if anybody has a question for her representing somebody that's interested in this. Any questions? Nope. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, number 4.
Ordinance number 2022-42, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for property generally located north of West Colonial Drive between North Westmoreland Drive and Cordova Drive and south of Boardman Street, and comprised of approximately 0.69 acres, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Okay, Madam Clerk, I have Gerald Smith signed up for 42 and 43, or should it just be 43?
I have 42 and 43.
Okay, Gerald Smith, you are on both of them? Okay.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you. On 42, this is the north parcel of the Ambassador Hotel that they are, my name is Gerald Smith. My daughter lives, I'm representing her at 920 Boardman Street, Orlando 32804. This is the rezoning from office low density to mixed use corridor medium intensity. A couple issues on the zoning portion of it. This backs up to the north side to residential, single family. And right now, the current zoning is a maximum of 35 feet. I'm concerned when you grandfather in the new zoning, the height restrictions, even though this is redevelopment of existing, if it changes down the road, if that will height restriction go away and they can go higher, overlooking the residential to the north. What I'm talking here today about is really the landscaping and fencing requirements under this proposal. I sent some pictures there you should have of the basically around the building to the north that this parcel represents. The first one is the widest portion, which is about 8 foot wide. It's basically an alleyway behind the building that has been used for a lot in people escaping the crime or doing the crime in the Ambassador Hotel and escaping the police through the side and back into the neighborhood. We've had multiple occasions where police have to come to her house in order to go back to the backyard to access to that area. What I'm requesting is very specific and very simple, is an 8 foot non-scalable barrier around the building, and that site to the neighborhood, so that you don't have people, whether it's outside or inside, escaping crime and using that to hide because it's not visible. And just simple is, right now, if you look at what the 4 foot metal fence is, it's basically a step ladder to jump over into any house in that neighborhood, and it happens all the time. We're saying a 6 foot chain link fence isn't going to solve the problem. And if you do, and I can see this landscaping not being relaxed, and landscaping in the neighborhood in this portion, putting some landscaping in those areas in the side, and you can see the trash and the bottles and that so forth. Everything along the line.
What I think might be best, Elizabeth, could you just meet with him off right now, so while he's here, and just take Elizabeth is our planning director.
Yes.
So she can probably help us figure out a way to help you.
And one last item is the motel next door. I just put the picture on there. They're basically advertising a huge sign, $20 rooms for 2 hours. There's nothing legal going on in a motel room in 2 hours. And you may want to look at an ordinance to stop that, because that's an attraction to this whole area. You're bringing that in, and it needs to be stopped. It's horrible for the community and the neighborhood. And like I said, there's nothing good going on for 2 hours in a hotel.
No, we think that what's going to happen with the Ambassador will be a huge improvement. I drive home by there on every single day.
It's horrible. It is absolutely terrible. But the rezoning.
I've seen things on that corner that still shock me.
We see it all the time.
Yeah.
And the owner at the Ambassador is in discussion to see if he can purchase that hotel. So hopefully he might be able.
The other hotel as well.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to speak on the other one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I can interrupt.
Commissioner Stewart.
One of the things that the MPB agreed to and as requested and I think required as part of the agreement is a detailed analysis and approval by Orlando SEPTED for all the issues. They had the same concerns that I have. An 8 foot fence provides some barrier, but also provides a place to hide. And so the idea really was that all of the crime prevention ideas would be identified by the police department, and we would do
Yeah.
Come on, back up to the mic.
Just real briefly, an 8 foot, originally we were talking about a concrete wall, okay, a solid wall. I don't care about that. If you have an 8 foot see-through, non-scalable fence, that's fine. I just don't want them to use a chain link, be able to just crawl over and just go.
I understand, and as much as I want to try to agree with you, I'm going to agree with the police department more, because they're the ones that are the experts. When you begin to add cameras and you begin to add other issues that are related to that.
Can I tell you what the police told them last time we called them, when there's like 26 shots in that neighborhood? It took them 30 minutes to get from there to that 920 Boardman. His response was, you need to arm yourself.
Okay, let's see, we need to vote on that still. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 5.
Ordinance number 2022-43, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, rezoning certain land generally located at the northeast corner of West Colonial and North Westmoreland Drives and comprised of 2.73 acres of land, more or less, for medium-intensity mixed-use corridor with a traditional city overlay district in part and low-intensity office residential with a traditional city overlay district in part, to plan development with a traditional city overlay district, providing a development plan and special land development regulations of the planned development district, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
So moved. Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Hill. Is there anyone from the public on this one, Madam Clerk? Now that Mr.
No speakers, Mayor.
Okay. Discussion here, none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 6.
Ordinance number 2022-44, an ordinance granting petition of Pulte Home Company LLC establishing and naming the Riverwalk Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, describing the external boundaries, the functions, and the power of the district, designating 5 persons to serve as the initial members of the district's Board of Supervisors, providing a severability clause, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Madam Clerk,
No speakers, Mayor.
discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so the motion carries. All right, Ed, can you get us ready for general appearance?